One of the most empowering things I've learned is that creativity is a powerful tool for reducing waste. When you need something, instead of rushing to the store, pause and consider what you already have. With a little imagination, you can transform old items into something new. Slow living isn't just about taking it easy, it's about living intentionally. And by pausing and being present, we become more aware of our consumption habits and the impact they have on the environment. By reimagining materials and embracing a simpler lifestyle, we can not only reduce waste, but also find greater joy and fulfillment. One of my favorite ways to reduce my consumption is to use what I already have. And if you're like me, you have a lot of cardboard boxes. So when the time comes in my life where I have things that need to be organized, instead of going to a store and buying containers or baskets, I head to my recycling bin and look for old shoe boxes and sturdy cardboard boxes that I can use to keep things organized, like these spinners that I have for our outdoor patio. Since the season is changing, I'm going to remove them from my very messy laundry room and put them instead into this box and store them for the season. Sometimes I have items in my home that I can't store in a closed cupboard. And so, again, instead of going out and buying something new to store these items in, I opt for covering a cardboard box with fabric. There are lots of tutorials out there on how to do this, but I kind of like to just wing it. And I find that if you are covering the box with a high quality piece of fabric, and in this case, it's a thrifted piece of linen that I found a while back, the result is always going to be more beautiful than if I had used some other form of paper or fabric. I had been looking for a container or a box to store our remote controls in for a long time, and I just hadn't found what I needed at thrift stores or discount stores. So when I found that I had this cardboard box, I thought, well, if I cover it in fabric, I can then store it out in the open and it'll fit right into my decor. And I'm happy to say that is definitely the case. Although it's not perfect, and I'm sure I could have done this a lot better, this is going to work great. And now we won't lose the remote controls. And if something happens to this box, I'm going to be okay with it because it's not precious, but repurposed. One of the ways that we have found to reduce waste in our home is to use all of our food. And what I mean by that is we repurpose our food and our leftovers constantly. So when I am meal prepping for the week, I always include a meal that I know I can include that will take those leftover components and turn them into something new. One of my favorite ways to repurpose leftovers is to create enchilada casseroles or lasagnas. They are so easy to make and they can be made ahead of time, and they're always a crowd pleaser in my home. And plus, they're so versatile, you can include a variety of leftovers in them, and so they never get old. So no matter what's in your refrigerator from a past meal, whether that is leftover meat or veggies, an enchilada casserole is a great way to transform those ingredients into something new. We have had a plethora of zucchini and squash lately, and putting them into a casserole has been a great way to use them up and enjoy them. In the past, I have made my own sauces for casseroles of all types, but one of the things I like to have on hand are pre-made sauces in my pantry. It does save me time and effort, and I always try to buy them in glass jars because I can reuse the jars to gift friends and family flowers or other items later. So don't feel like you have to make everything from scratch in order to reduce your waste. Just know that part of the process is also all about repurposing when you are thinking about living more intentionally and in line with the environment. One of the other ingredients we often have left over and an abundance of are the heels and smaller pieces from loaves of bread. Whether it's homemade bread or bread we've purchased, I often have these heels left over that no one in my family wants to consume. So instead of throwing them away or composting them or handing them over to our farm animals, I use them and turn them into breadcrumbs. It's so easy and it doesn't take very much time. All it takes is putting all of the dried bread into my food processor and blending it until they are a crumb quality. You will want to dry the bread first. I do this by placing the slices onto a cooling rack for a day or so. They dry out rather quickly where we live. You can also consider drying them in your toaster, in your oven, or even using a dehydrator. But I've never had to do that. They just simply dry out if I leave them on my counter on a cooling rack. I like to store the breadcrumbs in a ball jar and label it clearly so I know what they are. I use the breadcrumbs to make meatballs and meatloaf and dumplings. They are so versatile. It's a great ingredient to have on the shelf that I can keep using. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you will check out some of my other videos that explore zero waste and living intentionally. I appreciate you being here, and I hope you will like and comment on this video, and I'll see you back here very soon. Be well.